How should you work out to improve your performance if you're a first responder or a firefighter or somebody who saves lives? Watch this.
Next caller is James from Arizona.
James, what's happening?
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up?
Good, man.
Hey, so first off, like everybody else, tried to say thanks for everything you guys do and all the honest, good quality content you guys put out there. Made a huge impact in my life personally. Because of you guys, I switched up everything in school, and I'm a dietetic student now, trying to be a dietitian. And I'm actually in the level 1 cohort with NCI.
Hell yeah.
So we actually talked, Sal and I talked at the end of 2022 on that last coaches call. And I asked you like a similar question about wildland firefighters. It was more about business, but this is more about exercise. So
Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of background on me. I am a dog musher in Alaska in the wintertime, and then a wildland firefighter in Arizona in the summertime. So for me, as far as like seasons of life go, we're kind of coming up on the preseason of fire. So the season starts to peak up and ramp up in May. But between now and then, it's like February, March, and April. This is kind of like the preseason time. So my big question to you guys was, what is the best way to program for wildland firefighters between now and then? So we got about 3 months.
Did we cover this in the episode where we did
First responder?
Yeah,
one?
first responder.
Similar.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah,
Did we?
somewhat similar. We did an episode on this and kind of talked about the considerations for workouts. You know, because we're talking to you and we're not speaking generally, I'm going to need a little bit more information. So for you, what are areas of your fitness that you think you can improve upon in relation to this? In other words, when you're out there fighting fires and dog mushing, where do you feel you're weak? Do you feel
stamina, strength,
stability? Do you get injured? Like, what are the things you need to focus on?
Yeah, so I do remember the episode you guys are talking about, and I do remember that for first responders specifically, you guys recommended strong. For us and for me, like I'm programming for other guys too, because I've been doing it for a few seasons. So they kind of let me do that. With NCI, I kind of got some of the nutrition stuff down. But where we see guys lacking that come in, like the new guys, it's really just on like the stamina of like we could take anywhere from 25 to 50,000 steps in a day, depending on the fire, and that could go on for 2 weeks straight, every single day. So a lot of the time it's just getting the guys having the ability to take that many steps with that amount of weight, anywhere from like 45 to 60 pounds and stuff. So usually we see guys coming in and they're lacking in those areas. It's usually the hiking areas.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds a lot like work capacity.
Yeah, that's strong for sure.
Well, okay. So generally speaking, what you would do is you would have your off season, then preseason, then in season. Okay. So like with any athlete, off season, you typically are trying to build a really strong base and foundation. This is where you're looking to maximize strength, maximize mobility, maximize performance, okay? But strength is a big one here. So it's like, let's get strong. Let's get really strong. Preseason, we're now moving closer towards what the work is going to look like. So you're probably in this point going to back off on the strength focus and focus more on stamina and endurance. And then in season is all about recovery and injury prevention. So when you go off season, it's in the gym, it's heavy. You're doing some stuff that's similar to what you do in season, but really you're trying to just get stronger, okay? When you're preseason, then your training looks a lot like your work. So you're training and practicing with you're rucking, if that's very similar to what your work looks like. You're training for stamina. You may be doing things like circuits. You're basically trying to get your fitness capacity to match what's going to be required. Then when you're actually in the season, it's mobility, it's recovery, it's active recovery, and you're not trying to improve anything. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they try to get more fit with their workouts in season. What they need to do is try to maximize recovery, repair, and injury prevention. That'll keep your performance higher than trying to improve your performance. I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's exactly what happens that way. So that's generally speaking. Now, what can make up those workouts? Well, a lot of things, off-season strength, power lift, anabolic, split might even kind of fall strong is good in there. When you're preseason, now you're looking more like performance or cardio or something like that. Then when you're actually in season, now it's like prime pro, it's mobility, it's active recovery type of stuff.
So I like strong leading up. I like where he's at right now in preseason cardio, and actually all the places that we have recommended to do cardio I would pick specific things to what he's training for. So for example, in cardio, we program the weight training to complement all this endurance training. And the endurance training, we give people kind of this flexibility. Do you want to row one day? Do you want to run? And like, so I would literally take that programming, and I think the amount of volume around the weights is perfect for where you're currently at. And then I would modify all the cardio to more specific things that you think will carry over to your everyday life. Like back to Sal's point, throwing on a 50-pound backpack and doing, stairs for, a half hour. I would be doing things like that we're going to emulate the closest thing that I'm going to get out there and do in real world. And then like I said, I like strong before, and I like that performance. I can see I know Justin will probably go that way because of the rotational mobility stuff that's involved in there. I definitely would for sure pull mobility stuff in season from performance.
Also, because it's a seasonal buildup, I think that because off season, it was a real big structure to MAPS performance. I could make an argument for what Adam's saying in terms of like starting cardio or even starting performance, then cardio, then MAPS strong. So I think MAPS strong is like the pinnacle of kind of where you want to be in terms of overall volume and work capacity. So to build and establish that foundational strength first, this is my argument for MAPS performance first, going through that specifically laid out like phase one is very much of a building foundational strength. You get that multiplanar movement established, you get that endurance, like speed power, and then we get into power. And then that kind of leads naturally into then focusing directly on cardiovascular, which is, sounds like that's like a big priority for everybody coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing you want to consider the most is that what you don't want to do the closer you get to the season is do most of your training in the gym.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I don't need to tell you this, but for other people listening, there's a lot of skill involved in the activities that you do as a firefighter out in the wild. And I don't mean just the skill with, handling, putting out fires and stuff, but there's a lot of skill involved with hiking through the mountains and moving through brush and, all that other stuff. And you can't perfectly mimic that in the gym. You'll get some carryover, but you can be fit as hell in the gym. You go out into the mountains and try and fight fires, and you're going to beat yourself up because you don't know how to move properly. So what you don't want to do, and this is a big mistake a lot of people make, is they do all their workouts in the gym when what they need to do as they get closer to season is go out and do what the season's going to look like. So that's one of the biggest things to consider. And then again, I'm going to make this point again. If you took two groups of people and one group in season was trying to improve performance, the other group was just trying to prevent injury and facilitate recovery, the group that facilitated recovery and prevented injury is going to perform better. I know that sounds kind of funny, but they're going to end up with less injuries. They're going to last longer, and their performance will actually be better. So consider that as well.
Let's James, what programs do you have of the ones we listed?
I have strong, and I have pretty much everything except cardio.
Okay, so let's send you cardio over, and then I know we threw all kinds of shit at you right there, but I think the original simple advice that Sal was giving about like what preseason, what in season, and then what off season looks like. And because you have a background in this and you have knowledge around it, you literally could take those programs, performance, strong, and cardio, and kind of mold, more specific to you and your guys.
Right.
I do have one more question though. I've been meaning to ask one of my firefighter buddies. What is it called? What's the is it like a competition you guys do? I see every once in a while, and then you see them sometimes go viral videos of the like firefighters
that run up the stairs.
Yes, where they run up the ladders hella fast. Like, is there a name?
Yeah. So that's not. So there's a big difference between like structure firefighters and wildland firefighters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's more on the structure side. So structure dudes, like they're the guys you see in town, like fire medical guys. Wildland dudes are the guys with like the green trucks and the yellow shirts and stuff like that. And you rarely ever see us because we're in the woods and stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, you guys.
Like, we don't use I can't tell you when the last time I used a ladder. We use fire
spikes.
water. So.
You guys are like spikes, right? You guys are put the spikes on the trees.
So like you guys are probably seeing them around up in Truckee. California gets real busy. Like the season can go. That's just in Arizona. The season's like May until when monsoons hit, like July, maybe early August. But after that, we'll get assigned over in Montana or California. And California usually is like October to as late as December, like in 2020. Like it gets real busy. But so you guys have probably seen us around. But yeah, that ladder stuff is more the structure guys. So we can spend, the assignments look like 16 hours a day for 2 weeks straight. So you do the 16 hours a day, but you're working the entire time and you're away from home the 2 weeks straight. And then you come home for 2 mandatory paid days off. And then you go back out again for 2 weeks. And you could do that really for the entire season. Like I've gone 72 days straight getting paid before.
Wow. Holy
it's
Toledo.
Maniac.
you know, you're constantly gone and moving around and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot for the
Recovery, facilitating recovery and preventing injury is going to be I wouldn't do any additional workouts, honestly.
Yeah.
with something
Yeah.
like
So
that.
I didn't ask about the in-season specifically because I figured you guys would, I've been listening to you guys for a couple of years and you would agree. All I had written down for the in-season essentially was pulling like maybe two mobility sessions from performance a week and then doing 4 like prime pro sessions and stuff like that with the guys and just doing that 6 times a week.
I love that, bro.
And sleep
Yeah.
and focusing on optimizing sleep will be really, you guys probably know how to use chainsaws and axes and stuff like that really
I would
well
hope
because
so, yeah.
you have to, right? Yeah. What does a
Yeah.
dog musher do, by the way? I mean, I know what that looks like, but what is that as a job? Are you traveling? Are you taking people
I'm
from
in
place to
Arizona right
place?
now, but I go up to Alaska I'm going up February and March. And I run sprint dogs. So most people know about the Iditarod, which is like the long distance race. It's 1,000 miles. And that one is like they do it in 8 to 10 days. So the dogs are running over 100 miles every day. And their VO2 max, I run sprint dogs, which do 18 to 27-ish miles a day, 3 to 7 days in a row. And their VO2 max is 240 to 300. Like they're ridiculously fit. And they like they recover super quickly and they're just incredible athletes. So those are the dogs that I run. And we run.
So cool.
I'm just an amateur dude, so I run like 4 to 6 dogs, but you'll have folks running 18 to 22 dogs.
Wow. And what are you doing? Are you delivering mail or medical supplies? Like what's the work?
Some folks do that. Like some folks still use them in the villages. So like most of Alaska, you can't get to by the highway system. So they still use sled dogs and stuff to, deliver mail or medical supplies and stuff like that. But most of us race. So we have like races throughout January to April. And we just go around the state and we just like ours look from like we have one coming up that's, I want to say it's 3 days and it's for my class specifically, it's like 4 miles the first 2 days and 6 miles the last day. And they time it, they're just racing. So
So
but a lot of fun.
it's purely sport for you then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's easier for me because I don't have as many dogs. So it's easier for me to just be flexible and like fly around and do things I want. So I can have the seasons because I also climb and stuff too. And I'm learning how to ice climb in Alaska. So like doing all that stuff is like, it's a lot better with a small group of dogs.
What's that thing? He's missing like Alex, right?
Dude.
The rock climber guy who
I know.
needs like crazy adrenaline just to.
Oh, that dude's crazy. Yeah. But if you look up, so the ice climbing, I'm sure you've seen it, but the Alpinist on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That guy's insane. Like he was insane,
Yeah.
but he like that guy, Alex Honnold in there calls that guy crazy because he's like out soloing these crazy mountain peaks and stuff like that. But it's like I don't plan on doing that. Like that movie doesn't make me want to go free solo stuff, but the lifestyle is really cool.
Yeah.
So with NCI, like those are the clients that I really am stoked to work with are the dudes that live a regular lifestyles like me.
Oh, cool.
It's like one of the guys I'm working with is an Olympic level speed climber. So like it's just those are the clients that I'm super stoked to work with.
Well,
Yeah.
James,
Hey,
this is
James,
awesome.
are you in our forum?
No, I'm not.
You are now.
Yeah, we're gonna put you in the forum. You'd be a great person to be in there too. Because
Hell yeah.
yeah. So I can't wait to hear how everything goes for you, man. Stay
Yeah.
in touch with us, all right?
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks guys. If you ever find yourself in Alaska, feel free to come up and take a dog tour.
We will.
Pretty sure I
we
won't,
will.
but I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll probably be the only one to take you up
Justin
on
and
that.
I would do
Right
that.
on.
Fuck off.
Get out of here,
Let's go.
bro. You wouldn't do that.
Yes.
You would not go in the middle of the snow, in the middle of the wilderness.
Yes,
and
what?
just dogs.
He's
pushing you.
He's driving the dogs. I just have my coat and got to hold on to his waist. You know what I'm saying?
You're like having 12 Olympic athletes pull you around. They'll get you back home just
Dude,
fine.
Adam doesn't want to go camping.
as long as you
Car
just
get him a
nice
as long
parka.
as you
We'll
get me
sleep inside.
as long as you get me to my nice ass cabin, I'm with my fire and my
And my
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
We have a lodge on the property and everything.
There
It's
we
fine.
go. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm
all
good,
right.
bro. We'll
Thanks,
see
man.
you out there. See you, James.
All right, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Bro, when was the last time we got out manlied so hard?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's just
I know.
Bro,
I
you
do
know,
this, I do
hey,
that, I do that.
hey, homeboy
I'll chill about
works, 72 days straight, and then in his off season or his vacationing is in Alaska on sled dogs.
Sled dogging. I love it, dude.
That-
True outdoorsman.
That's crazy.
There's a definition of like alpha.
Too much. Do you guys remember when you figured that out with athletes though? Did you have to figure that out with yourself, with your own training first, or because that took me a long time because I would continuously train athletes and myself like I'm trying to improve performance in season and just
Yeah. You're trying to
into
improve
problems.
in season?
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's a very common thing. Coaches like get in that conundrum. It's like, they're getting all this like great performance. How can we maximize? And it's
Yeah.
like, you got to realize that
You're
just
done.
keeping it, keeping it intact is everything.
I actually think this is credit Joe DeFranco. I think Joe was the person who I probably started to find around this time in my life when I was starting to figure out the like good protocol for athletes, because there really wasn't a lot out there.
no.
There wasn't a lot of good information.
Void.
Yeah,
It
very
was bodybuilding training.
very, very much so. I mean, that's the reason why too. I always talk and pump the tires of Paul Fabritz, because it didn't exist. There's just not a lot of it. Even today, it's
a lot thinner than I would have thought.
It's, even in this internet world, there's a handful of really good sports performance coaches that are online that I feel that are accessible, like those guys.